What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Nice Gaming. My name is McGarvin and you're tuned into a brand new episode of Renew or Revoke, where we look at your favorite things, but it's video games. Every now and again, something comes around that kicks down your door, rocks your foundation, and changes absolutely everything about your life. For some people, that's the birth of a child, a chance encounter with a spouse, or a close brush with death. For me, that thing was a silly little show about a little boy upset because his favorite ice cream sandwich got discontinued. Yes, for real. Let's talk about Steven Universe. Steven Universe is a masterpiece. Rebecca Sugar really went off when she decided to craft a coming-of-age story that really, at its core, is all about love. From romantic love to parental love to the ever-important self-love, Steven Universe covers it all. The show focuses on the title character, Steven Universe, and the Crystal Gems, a group of alien space rocks that act as Earth's guardians, as they navigate Steven's developing powers as a half-gem, the fallout from an ancient intergalactic space war, and the loss of the leader of the Crystal Gems, and Steven's mom, Rose Quartz. Obviously, there's a ton to unpack there, but that's really something that deserves its own video. For now, I'll just say that Steven Universe does a phenomenal job exploring topics such as sexuality, loss, and depression, all dressed up in cutesy 11-minute segments. With its blend of hyper-compelling characters, effective use of music as a storytelling tool, and a strong emphasis on weaving a tale that's equal parts heartwarming and heartbreaking, every one of Steven Universe's 5 seasons will leave you in a glass case of emotions.
A few months back, my dad and the Gems grounded me from TV.
That's the worst.
No way! And then I found out that the Gems are alien rebels and that there are other Gems out in space that want us dead because they think we're traitors. And they tried to take me hostage because they think I'm my mom. And maybe I kind of am? I wish I could talk to Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl about it, but I think they kind of blame me for my mom not being around. That's heavy.
Unless you've been living under a rock since 2013, you're obviously aware of how big a hit Steven Universe is. It spawned TV movies, vinyls, t-shirts, the whole 9 yards, so it was really only a matter of when, not if, it got a video game adaptation. In 2015, a studio called Grumpyface released Attack the Light for mobile phones, and while that game got real big critical acclaim, it wasn't until 2017's Save the Light that Steven Universe fans were treated to a fully fleshed out Steven Universe experience. Featuring an original story from Rebecca Sugar herself, Save the Light does everything that Attack the Light did and turns it up to 100. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start at the beginning. But first, a warning. Since everything in this game is technically canon, we will be discussing some spoilers as we go through it. If you want to avoid the spoilers altogether, go to this time right here to avoid them. The game opens with Steven recounting the adventures of Attack the Light, where Steven and the Crystal Gems stumble across an ancient alien weapon known as the Prism and unknowingly release a light monster from it. Steven is able to talk the monster into being its own person, leading to the creation of Light Steven, and that's where our story begins. Steven is in the middle of showing Light Steven off to Connie when the prism suddenly activates, absorbs Light Steven, and flies out of the house. Connie and Steven follow the prism downtown and learn that a spaceship has destroyed Greg's car wash. The spaceship door opens and a large orange gem emerges from it and announces herself as the ruler of the prism. Of course, Steven and Connie object to this, which causes the gem to release a few light monsters from it to deal with our heroes. The pair make short work of the monsters, leading to the gem expressing frustration with how weak the prism has gotten in her absence. The gem unleashes a swarm of light monsters all across Delmarva before absconding with the prism. Steven, Connie, and Greg decide that their best course of action is to find the other crystal gems before tracking down the orange gem and saving Light Steven. Luckily, the first of the crystal gems is easy to find as the trio spot Amethyst on a beach. Amethyst relays that she saw the ship heading for Beach City Woods, and our quartet is off to the wilderness. While fighting through the woods, the team encounters Pearl, who appears to know the gem in question, and joins the team in pursuit of her. The team is able to follow the gem into a sanctuary in the forest where she is revealed to be Hessonite, a legendary commander who clashed with the crystal gems during the rebellion over 5,000 years ago. Hessonite uses the forest shrine to power up the prism, and uses that newfound power to unleash the fearsome Dave, who attempts to eliminate the good guys. Never trust the Dave. Our heroes are unable to topple Dave on their own, but fortunately, Garnet is here to save the day. In her all-knowing wisdom, Garnet reveals that Hessonite is headed to the Great North Mountains, and with that, our team is northbound. After reaching the mountains, Garnet and company stumble across another gem spaceship. The crystal gems follow the ship to the top of the mountain, where they tango with a square-headed Peridot, who has orders to ice our heroes. The battle is tough, but it ends in a W for the protags, who capture Squaredot and realize that they can use her ship's terminal to track down Hessonite. Garnet and the gang take Squaredot and her damaged terminal to the barn in hopes that Peridot can repair it. Back at the barn, Squaredot and Peridot exchange words until Squaredot lets it slip that Hessonite is somewhere at the Strawberry Battlefields. With the bean spilled, a desperate Squaredot attempts to attack our heroes, which ends in her being poofed by Garnet. What a blockhead. Peridot reveals that she can repair the terminal, but she'll need a large amount of tungsten to do so. Up for an adventure, Peridot joins the team and the crew is off to the Strawberry Battlefield. While collecting the tungsten, Peridot opines how strange it is that Hessonite hasn't left Earth nor attacked despite reclaiming her prism, leading the gang to wonder if there's more to her plan. When Peridot finally collects enough tungsten to repair the terminal, the group is ambushed by a large golem who we'll call Spiky McSpikeball. Following the world's most brutal game of jump rope, Steven and his friends repair the terminal and locate Hessonite at the Sky Arena. Once there, we learn that Hessonite has been revisiting the areas of her previous battles with the prism in hopes of jogging its memory and reawakening its once destructive power. The prism maintains that it doesn't want to be a weapon and continues to take the form of Light Steven, much to the chagrin of Hessonite. Steven again attempts to reason with Hessonite, who once again flees. Oblivious to the fact that Peridot is tracking her, Hessonite makes her way to the Pyramid Temple with our heroes hot on her haunches. Our heroes quickly descend upon Hessonite, who is incensed that the prism won't be her weapon anymore. Confronted by the crystal gems yet again, Hessonite flexes her insane power and an embarrassingly short battle with the crystal gems ensues. Hessonite wastes no time poofing every gem before her, knocks out both Connie and Greg, and sends everyone but Steven plummeting to the depths of the pyramid. Whew. I ain't seen a beat down like that since literally any episode of Invincible. As the last line of defense, Steven grabs onto the prism, which sends him into a trance. Meanwhile, Connie, Peridot, and Sapphire wake up separated from the others and begin searching for a way to reunite with their friends. On the other side of the pyramid, Ruby, Greg, Amethyst, and Pearl also begin searching for a way to reunite with the others. While the others work to find each other, Steven is shown glimpses of Hessonite's past by the prism before a struggle ensues for control of the prism. Somewhere in the shuffle, Steven is knocked out by Hessonite and the prism is retaken by her. Steven is later found alone at the bottom of the pyramid by Connie's team, and the four reunite with the others shortly thereafter. Ruby and Sapphire refuse into Garnet, and our heroes return to the top of the pyramid where they're attacked by another light construct of the prism, this one much stronger. Garnet determines that the prism must be close to regaining its true power, so the team is running short on time. Peridot confesses that she lost the terminal when she was poofed by Hessonite, so she can no longer track her. As Peridot finishes her thought, Steven, still in sync with the prism, has a vision of Hessonite entering Bismuth's forge. The team realizes that Hessonite intends to use the forge to power up the prism's constructs and return it to its former glory. With the endgame in sight, Steven and his friends race to the forge to confront Hessonite before she completes her sinister plot. After clearing the entire forge and coming up empty, our heroes emerge from the forge in time to watch Hessonite once again depart in her ship, this time leaving the planet. With the final battle upon them, Steven and company reach out to Lion to teleport them to Hessonite's space station, where they challenge Hessonite one final time. Hessonite reveals her dismay with having to leave the prism behind and how angry she is believing that Steven stole and brainwashed her prism. Hessonite intends to kill the crystal gems using the prism and summons a super powerful light construct. Our warriors engage in combat with the light while Steven tries his best to convince it that it doesn't need to fight. The light begins to relent and a very cheesed off Hessonite joins the fight. Through sheer willpower, our heroes are able to best Hessonite, and the dejected gem attempts to force Steven to take the prism. But Steven refuses, stating the prism doesn't belong to anyone and should be free to make its own decisions. Hessonite reluctantly agrees and goes off to find out if she was a legendary warrior on her own merit or if it had been the prism the entire time. With that, Hessonite escapes capture, and our heroes return to Earth for a celebratory pizza party. Just like every other piece of Steven Universe media, Save the Light does a great job keeping you focused on the story at hand while drip feeding you pieces of the Crystal Gems past. The Crewniverse always knows how to give you just enough to keep you watching for hours. But being that this was a 15-hour game session and not a week-long Steven bomb, the gameplay of Save the Light is also forced under the microscope. Let's see how it played. Like pretty much every RPG ever created, the gameplay of Save the Light follows a tried and true gameplay formula. Characters roam the overworld, get into battles, gain experience, yada yada yada. Put simply, this game isn't breaking any new ground, but you know the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The combat system here is a little deeper than it appears on the surface, so we'll get to that in a minute, but where Save the Light really shines is in the overworld. Outside of battle, the game plays like a pseudo open world adventure game where the player is expected to explore, puzzle solve, and collect. The game features 7 playable characters with Greg, Connie, and Peridot joining Steven and the Crystal Gems. Players take control of a party of 4 whose unique weapons allow for a variety of puzzles to solve and obstacles to overcome. Whether it's using Greg's guitar to solve music-based puzzles or moving metal blocks with Peridot's telekinesis to reach new heights, there are plenty of obstacles and little puzzles that require different characters to solve, and it really encourages the use of multiple different character combinations to clear an area 100%. While there are a few puzzles that require more than just a couple of neurons, the puzzles here aren't particularly taxing, so if you've only got 2 brain cells to rub together, you're probably going to be alright. Puzzling may be necessary to progress the story, but exploration is not. Non-completionists have no reasons to explore and complete the game, but the game does reward you if you do so via the badge system. Badges are this game's main collectible and serve as items that you can equip to characters that add unique perks in and out of battle. Whether it's a badge that increases your movement speed or one that reduces the cost of your attacks, badges add just enough of a buff to make it worth it to do some adventuring. Of course, this wouldn't be a real RPG if there weren't any side quests. In Save the Light, players can also earn badges for completing a number of side quests and helping out Beach City's boardies. And honestly, this is where the game's tight writing and excellent characterization really take center stage. Every one of your favorite Steven Universe characters and locations is present and accounted for. From Ronaldo's weirdness to Lars's apathy, the non-player characters in Save the Light are dead on, and even though the game isn't fully voice acted, the dialogue is so in character that you can practically hear it. And speaking of, even though the game is only partially voice acted, the voice acting that is present is damn good. It's no surprise when Zach Callison or Estelle or Michaela Dietz nail their lines. They're series veterans after all. But what's really surprising is how well rookie Christine Baranski crushes it in her role as Hessenite. Seriously, take an earful of this.
What are these weak forms? Your blades, so flimsy. You've gone soft.
Damn. Who would have known that Martha May Whovier would kill it like this? Moving on, exploring and puzzling isn't all there is to do in Save the Light. Like any RPG worth its salt, a good portion of Save the Light is spent making decisions in battle. The combat system here is deceptively deep and a little more complex than it looks at first blush, so bear with me as I explain it. Right off the bat, Save the Light is not your typical turn-based RPG, and since it features a real-time combat system, battles here are predicated on timing, resource management, and team chemistry. Every battle starts with a team given a number of star points. These points are crucial to battle and dictate what a character can and can't do, and of course, every action costs points. Every turn, there's a timer that slowly recharges and grants the player an additional 5 stars when filled. While there are items that can instantly grant you star points in a pinch, the ability to use items from the Cheeseburger backpack is subject to a 10-second cooldown between items, so that's yet another resource to manage. Fortunately, the game also features the timing-based system with regards to attacking or blocking attacks that can quarter or even have the time needed to fill your star meter. When attacking, a star symbol appears just beneath the target and quickly shrinks with the goal of the player tapping the attack button just as the star reaches its smallest size and flashes purple. For defending enemy attacks, it's the same principle, but in reverse. Nailing the timing grants you a perfect, which rewards the player with a 2-second boost to their star timer, on top of dishing out extra damage when attacking, or sponging a little more damage when blocking. It'll take a little bit to master, but getting it down is essential to effective battling. Between managing your stars and perfecting your timing and execution, there's obviously a lot more going on in Save the Light battles than meets the eye. Between the resource management and the timing, we've already covered a big portion of the battle experience in Save the Light, but there's still one more thing we haven't covered, and it's a big one.
Giant woman.
Seriously, what kind of Steven Universe game would this be if fusions were left out? That'd be like making a Mario game but forgetting to include the mushrooms, or making a Pokemon game that's missing 400 Pokemon. The third ingredient in the Save the Light battle pie is the bond system, a meter that gauges how close two characters are. The meter can be filled by giving a character kudos for executing a perfect block, as a reward for saving a teammate from an enemy attack, or via a special item. When the meter is full, two characters can team up to either perform a super combo attack, or a fusion if they have one. Every pairing of characters has a special combo attack whose effects vary from granting bonus stars to doing super extra mega damage. It's pretty cool to see what wacky attack combinations have been cooked up for this game, but really, we know why you're here. A maxed out bond can only mean one thing.
Fusion! Ha!
Whoa. If you want to avoid fusion spoilers, go to this time right here. After that, we're mostly spoiler free. Since the game takes place sometime after Earthlings, but before Change Your Mind, not every fusion from the series is accounted for. Aside from Garnet, the fusions in this game are Stevani, Smoky Quartz, Sugalite, Opal, and my personal favorite fusion of all time, Sardonyx. Fusion doesn't cost any star points to perform and can be reversed at any time, and even though the fusion only lasts till the end of the current battle, fusions are devastatingly powerful. From Stevani's overpowered swordplay to Opal's arrow shower, fusions in Save the Light have a way of completely turning the tides in battle, making the long build-up absolutely worth it in the end. Plus, Sardonyx kicks some serious tail and can easily clear an entire battlefield on her own. And when you account for the fact that Pearl and Garnet are so good offensively, she's easily the best fusion. Save the Light does a whole host of things right. The voice acting is phenomenal and the characterization is absolutely on point. But make no mistake, the combat portions of this game pull their weight too. The use of stars to make moves is smart design and keeps you from burning through the battles too quickly while giving added weight to your decisions. Ending up with no stars while an enemy barrages you is so punishing that it forces you to second guess going all in on big attacks that may not necessarily KO the opponent early. It makes you stop and think, should I go all in and attack with Connie's Sword Slash? Or maybe I go conservative and set up some bubbles and a Greg Jam for the long game. Really, there were so many different options that mixing and matching characters wasn't necessarily something I thought of. I was genuinely curious to see how certain characters' playstyles meshed with others, and that's a win in my book. The bond system also made a strong impression on me because it played so well with the core themes of Steven Universe the show: trust, kindness, and love. It really is amazing that Grumpyface Studios took such strong stock into what made Steven Universe special and found a way to bring that to this game. But still, there's one giant elephant in the room that we haven't addressed yet. For as good as this game is at capturing the spirit of Steven Universe, the game itself is absolutely plagued by stability issues that make this review much less of a slam dunk. Save the Light was first released in 2017 for PS4 and Xbox before receiving Switch and PC ports in 2018. You'd think that a year's turnaround would allow some time for the developers to buff out some issues, but somehow the Switch version, which I played, was still buggier than Johto's National Park on a Saturday. There were way too many times where the game would crash for no discernible reason, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't recreate it. Other times the game would just freeze while jumping or attacking in the overworld. Fortunately, the menu still works in these instances, so you can save and quit to the main menu without losing your progress. Still, the glitches occurring wasn't really the problem. I mean, plenty of otherwise great games have some glitches. The problem here is the frequency. Stability aside, I don't really have too much more to complain about. There were some points at the end of the game where a cutscene occurred without music that felt odd, but those appeared to be intentional design choices. Also, the game's camera, while mostly solid, was pretty janky in some optional sections. It wasn't bad, but it really made me think that the game could really use some quality of life improvements, such as camera control, or the ability to use items in the overworld repeatedly without having to reopen the bag each time. Of course, these are minor nitpicks, and the real big issues are the bugs and glitches. Save the Light is the kind of licensed game that most fans dream of. It tells a good story that complements the source material and shows a strong understanding of the core messaging of the show and its characters. And for that, Steven Universe Save the Light earns a renew. The glitchiness of the game made it a much tighter call than it should have been, and there was a real possibility this could have ended up a Revoke. But at the end of the day, the game's near wizard-like understanding of the source material really swayed my vote. The game does more well than it does poorly, and even though the poor is performance-based, I still think there's enough here that any Steven Universe fan can be happy with. It also helps when the game has a stamp of approval from the creator herself and is a canon piece of the universe. Just know that if you decide to play Save the Light, you do so knowing that there are some bugs that'll really bog down your experience, but not enough to ruin it in my opinion. There really is a lot to like about Steven Universe Save the Light, but I can't help but feel like it really could have benefited from an extra round of playtesting and some quality of life improvements. But if nothing else, it does a really good job of helping us piece together what really happened during Earth's rebellion, and for me, that's more than enough. A sequel called Unleash the Light was released in 2019, and I'm sure we'll look at that at some point, but for right now, I'm all Stevened out. Thank you for watching, and if you like what you saw, leave us a like and a comment, and subscribe for more nice gaming content. If you're into licensed video games, let us know below what games we should check out next. Thank you once again, and until next time, stay nice.